where news comes first. This is ABC 7 Extra.
Welcome to ABC 7 Extra Sunday. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Ross. It was last summer when the city of Socorro was dealing with an unwelcome guest, an invasion of the red flower beetle. City officials first acknowledged the problem in August, and the fight to rid homes and businesses of the pesky pest lasted for months. Back in November, ABC 7 Extra Sunday went in depth as to how the city of Socorro was working to bring the infestation under control. This year, Socorro city officials and the county of El Paso are taking steps to make sure there isn't a repeat of last summer. Joining me in studio to discuss the joint effort are the mayor of Socorro, Rudy Cruz Jr., and Jonathan Consford, Integrated Pest Management Program Specialist with Texas A&M AgriLife. And joining me via Zoom, El Paso County Commissioner for District 3, Ileana Orguin, and Patrick Porter, the Extension Entomologist with Texas A&M AgriLife. And I welcome all of you to the show tonight. Patrick, when we started our show last November, you explained what the red flower beetle is, and I think it's appropriate to start tonight's show with that same explanation.
Right. I'll try to be brief. It's found worldwide, and it's a pest of stored products, agricultural products mostly. And it's common in homes, in kitchens. It comes in through the grocery store in infested products, and houses get low levels of infestations. But it also builds up in huge numbers in piles of stored agricultural commodities, in your case, pecan shells, crushed pecan shells.
All right.
And that was the problem last year. They spread millions of beetles out with those shells in the area near Socorro.
And those crushed ground shells, they use those for weed control? Is that what they're commonly used for?
Well, they're used for dust control in areas that are very dry and windy, and I believe that was what the use case in the Socorro El Paso area was. They can be used for weed control as a thick mulch, but I believe in your case it was dust control.
It was more for dust control. Okay. And Jonathan, how common are these infestations? I mean, they're not limited to our area, are they?
Right. Right, like Dr. Porter said, these red flower beetles are found worldwide, especially in warmer climates like the southern U.S. In 2023, there was an outbreak in Levelland, Texas, where almond holes were the culprit.
All right. Mayor Cruz, we know that the red flower beetle loves pecan shells. What is your city doing right now to make sure that these beetles don't have a home?
Yeah, Mark, that's a really, really good question, and I want to thank the Texas Department of Agriculture alongside our Commissioner Orguin, and we've also received some assistance from our State Representative Mary Gonzalez's office as well to secure the funding in order for us to allow our residents to remove and extract the pecan shells from their residents. But we've taken it a step further, and we've taken the proactive approach as a city, because we've adopted a new city ordinance which was adopted in January 16th of this year. That's Ordinance 658, that no longer allows for our residents to use the pecan shells for landscaping material or driveway or anywhere in a residential area or commercial area. They're just completely not allowed, and they've been banned.
And you have a pecan shell drop-off that's going now through the end of April. Talk about that.
That's correct. Again, like I mentioned before, with the assistance of the Texas Department of Agriculture and our commissioner and just the collaborative efforts, we've allowed for the city of Socorro to post at our recycling center a large container, and the residents of Socorro, and it doesn't matter if you're from Socorro, you can be from Sanelli, Clint, Fabens, anyone that wants to take advantage of this program right now, they're able to drop off at this location in Socorro, which is 240 North Moon at the Socorro Recycling Center, and they can drop off their pecan shells there.
Okay, I know we have the address on the screen as 241 Old Waco Texas
241,
Road.
that's correct.
Okay, all right,
Apologies.
good. No worries. And it's Monday 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Tuesday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Commissioner Orguin, when did you all decide to do this pecan shell drop-off? How did it come together?
So from the beginning of the infestation, many of us came together to start trying to figure out a strategy. And so I also want to thank the City of Socorro, Texas A&M AgriLife, the Department of Agriculture. El Paso Water was a huge partner in this effort as well, as was Representative Gonzalez. So as we all came together to try to figure out a strategy on how to deal with the infestation that was happening at that moment last fall, we also wanted to find a way to ensure that our community wasn't going to be suffering through this type of infestation again. So that's when it was decided that the county would apply for funding that was being made available through the Department of Agriculture to try to help mitigate the situation in the future. Thankfully, the county's application was approved. We were granted $30,000 from the Department of Agriculture to help with the removal of the pecan shells from the area. And that's what's happening now. So part of that funding is being used to fund the drop-off location that Mayor Cruz just described. We're also using portions of that funding to affirmatively go and pick up shells, for example, from some of the surrounding independent school district properties that, like Mr. Porter mentioned, use these shells for dust mitigation purposes. So we're using some of the funding to go and pick up some of these large piles because, again, we don't want them to become a food source that exacerbates the red flower beetle problem. So thanks to that funding, the county is able to take affirmative steps to make sure that this doesn't happen in our community again.
Okay, Mayor Cruz, when did you all determine that you were finally in the clear from last year's infestation?
I want to say that when the El Paso Water Utilities District went ahead and removed that large area of pecan shells, I want to say that that was a great help. But at the same time, we understood that this is not something that we wanted our residents to experience here in the future. So we went ahead and we passed a new ordinance just kind of banning at all means the use of pecan shells for those purposes. But
so you and City Council basically came together and said, hey, we've got to nip this problem in the bud.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened. We sat down together, we put our minds together, and we say, look, at the end of the day, we got to do what's right and what's best for our residents. And we said, you know what, it's time to pass an ordinance that's going to outlaw the use of pecan shells because this is not something that we want to see in the future. When I received all these calls from some of our residents, it was pretty bad. I mean, to the point where, you know, sleepless nights, hotel stays, having to decide between buying groceries or buying
insecticide
and stuff like that. And I don't want my residents to have to go through that again.
Makes sense. Still ahead, why our warmer than normal winter is a concern when it comes to another possible infestation of the red flower beetle. Stay with us. You're watching ABC 7 Extra Sunday.